Hello everyone, welcome to Augusta Academy. Today we are going to learn the first chapter of 11th Science Maths, that is angles and measurements. So let us first understand what an angle is. There are, in terminology of an angle, there are three basic concepts. One is terminal arm, initial arm and the vertex. Initial arm is the stationary arm which will not move. Terminal arm is the arm which is movable, we can say. So we can draw at any angle. And this is the vertex where both these arms are joined together. So if conventionally what we do, we draw a line, that is the initial arm, we measure the angle and draw this terminal arm, and this is our angle, let us say 45 degrees. This is what we do. Now in this case, the initial arm is always stationary, that is this is the initial arm, and if we go counterclockwise, then we call this angle as a positive angle. If we go counterclockwise, that is CW, we call this angle the positive angle. And if suppose this is the initial arm and we measure the angle clockwise, that is if we go downward direction, this will be our negative angle. So this is the basic. This is the terminal arm, this is the initial arm, and this is the vertex. The point joining both the arms is called as the vertex. Now if we go counterclockwise, that is we draw conventionally, this is our positive angle. If we go counterclockwise, that is in the downward direction, this is our negative angle. Now there are some types of angles. Let us first say which is the zero angle. Now suppose if this is the initial arm, let us say OA, and our terminal arm also lies at the same place. So this is, suppose this is point B. Now both the arms are lying on each other, that is the angular motion or the angular displacement is zero. So hence we call this as the zero angle. After that, the second type is straight angle. Now what is a straight angle? Suppose this is the vertex, the initial arm is this, that is OA, and the terminal arm is this, that is OB. Now both of these are having an angle of 180 degree. This we call as a straight angle because this forms a straight line. This is the second type of the angle. So first we saw the zero angle, then we saw the straight angle. Now the third type is one rotation angle. Now what we call one rotation angle? One rotation angle looks exactly similar as the zero angle. So suppose this is the initial angle, sorry, the initial arm, and the terminal arm started moving from this. It started moving, it completed the entire rotation and came back here again. That is, it has traveled 360 degrees. So if it travels 360 degrees, it will definitely come back to its original position, where it started from. So this is one rotation angle because it has completed one entire rotation of 360 degrees. So we call the third type a one rotation angle. Okay. After that, the fourth type is quite familiar to you, which we call a right angle. In right angle, we know that the initial arm and terminal arm at 90 degrees with each other, and this always is perpendicular to the initial arm. So the fourth type is right angle. After that, the next is angles in standard position. Now what is angle in standard position? So suppose this is our quadrant system. So in this, an angle can be drawn in this manner. So suppose this is our initial arm, this is O, this is A, and this is B. We can say AOB is one angle. After that we can say AO, suppose D is another angle. Let us say AOE is another angle. Okay. So now just observe all these angles: AOB, AOD, AOE. Now if we observe these angles and let us say angle BOD, what we do in standard conditions, we consider the initial arm parallel to the x-axis. So in standard form, the angle is always drawn like this, where initial arm is parallel to x-axis. So AOB, AOD and AOE are the angles in standard position. Now if we consider angle BOD, let us say this, if we consider the angle BOD, This angle is also a perfect angle, but as the initial arm OB is not parallel to x-axis, we do not consider this as an angle in standard position. So I'm not saying that this angle is wrong, this angle is absolutely perfect, but this is not in the standard position. Okay, so after that, the next type is quadrantal angle. Let me first clear this. I hope you understand this. So what is a quadrantal angle? So again we consider these as the quadrants. Now suppose if all the angles are in this way, this is parallel to the x-axis, this is parallel to the y-axis, and this is making an angle of 90 degrees. Again, suppose the terminal arm is parallel to x-axis again, but the opposite direction. That is, this is considered making the angle of 180 degrees. This will be 180, this will be 90. Suppose again this is the terminal arm making an angle of 270 degrees, and a complete one rotation angle will be of 360 degrees. So what we saw here, both the arms are either parallel to x-axis or y-axis, nothing in between. So these are called as a quadrantal angle. That is, they lie exactly on the quadrant. The quadrantal angles. So in this case, the difference between both the arms is always 90 degrees. Both successive arms is always 90 degrees. That is, this is the initial arm, this is the terminal arm, 90 degree again. Again from here to here 90, here to here 90, here to here 90. So that is, angles can be always either 90 or 180 or 270 or 360 and so on. So this is quadrantal angle. Next type is coterminal angle. Now what is a coterminal angle? It is a basic angle, but it is defined by the direction by which we measure the angle. That is, suppose we draw an angle of, let us say, 50 degree. So suppose this is angle of 50 degree. Let us name it AOB. AOB is the angle of 50 degree. Now this is 50 degree if we go this way. That is counterclockwise. That is in the standard measuring method. But what if we go downwards? That is a clockwise direction. If we calculate from here, the same angle which is 50 degree from this way will be 360 minus 50. Okay, so this is 310 degrees. Now it is the same position of the arm. The position of the arm has not changed. Just this is our initial arm, this is our terminal arm. The difference is only the direction. If we go this way, it is 50 degree. If we go other way, it is 310 degrees. This is the type which is called as coterminal angles. Coterminal angles. So these are few basic type of angles you have to study. After that, we have finished the part of angle. Now how to measure, or what are the methods from which we can measure the angles. So this, basically there are two types or two methods of measurement from which an angle is measured. So first is, we all know that the angle is measured in degree. That is one method. And other is, the unit is radius. So first is called as the sexagesimal method. Sexagesimal method. Okay. In which the unit is degree. We all know the unit degree. Okay, so what is this method basically? We all know the entire circle is of 360 degrees. So out of this 360 degrees, each one part out of, if we divide the circle in 360 parts, each part is called as 1 degree. Suppose this is one part of 360, then the one part will look something like this, as a piece, as a sector. This will be 1 degree. So like this, 360 degrees or 360 different parts combined together make a circle of 360 degrees. So 1 degree is nothing but the 360th part of a circle, okay, which we call as a degree. So this is basically an old method. We have also studied this in school level. Now there is a detail in this. It is not only in degree, but it is in degree, minute and second. Now what is this? So these are the two detailed units of degree again. So we also will learn how to convert the degree measurement into degree, minute and seconds. The second method is, first is hexadecimal, second is radian method. You may not have heard this unit. Just as degree, this is also unit of measurement of angles. So what is a radian basically? Suppose again this is a circle. This is the radius of the circle. And suppose, just imagine, we know this is called the arc or the arc length we call it. Suppose the arc length is exactly similar to the radius. That is, suppose the radius of 10 centimeters. We also consider the arc length of 10 centimeters. That is, this will also be 10 centimeters. And if we join this part, that is this sector in which the radius and arc length are same or exactly the same measurement, then this is 1 radian. Okay, this we call as 1 radian. So now this is the unit of radian. So first one was hexadecimal method in which the unit is degree. Second one is radian method or circular method, we can also say circular method in which the unit is radians. Okay, so this is basically the method used for detailed angular measurement. We can also call it as the circular method. Okay, so now there's another part, how to convert these radians into degrees or degrees into radians. Let us see that. It's quite simple thing, how to convert those degrees into radians and radians into degrees. So if we have to convert the degrees to radians, we have to multiply the degree by pi by 180. Okay, degrees into pi by 180. That is, suppose we have to convert 90 degrees into radians. What we will do? 90 into pi by 180. That is, this is 1, 2, pi by 2. So this will be pi by 2 radians. Okay. So we can also say this pi by 2 radians. You can write C here. So pi by 2 radians is nothing but 90 degrees. Okay. In the same way, if we have to go from radian to degrees, radian to degree, what we'll do? We'll multiply by 180 by pi. 180 by pi. That is, suppose again we'll have the same example. If we have to convert this pi by 2 radians into degrees, so we'll multiply by 180 by pi. 180 upon pi. The pi will get nullified. 2 ones are 2, 2 nines are 18, and this is 90, so is equal to 90 degrees. So this is how we convert degrees to radians and radians to degrees. If we have to convert degree to radians, we'll multiply by pi by 180, and if we have to convert radians to degrees, we'll multiply by 180 by pi. This is the basic of angular measurement. So the next part we'll see now is the conversion of degrees to minutes and seconds. Okay. So how to convert a degree into minutes and seconds? If they have given us a value of degree something like this, let me tell you. So suppose they have given the value of, let us say, 74.87 degrees. Now what to do with this 87.87? This is already a very small angular measurement. That is, 1 degree is nothing but a 3/60th part of a circle. Now again we have to make fractions of this. So what we will do? 74 is nothing but 74.00, 74.87 it is. So 74.00 plus, this is degrees, plus 0.87. Getting this? 74.87 is nothing but 74.00 plus 0.87. So what we will do here? 74.00 will remain as it is, plus we'll multiply this by 60. Now by 60, that will also, I'll tell you, 0.87 into 60. Okay, so 0.87 into 60 will be 52.2. So 74.00 degrees plus 52.2 degrees here again. So sorry, these are minutes. Okay, minute is denoted like this, single inverted comma. So this is 74 degree 52.2 minutes. Now again we have to convert these minutes into seconds. So we'll do the same thing again, 74.00 degrees plus 52.2 minutes it is. So what we'll do here, we'll again fractionize this, that is 52.00 minutes plus, we'll put a bracket, 0.2 minutes. So again we'll multiply this 0.2 minutes by 60 to get the second measurement, that is 74.00 plus 52 minutes, that is 52.00 plus 0.2 into 60 seconds. Now how this works, it is 74 degrees plus 52 minutes plus 0.2 plus 60, sorry, 0.2 into 60, it is 12. So 12 minutes, it is denoted as double inverted comma. Okay, so we can say this combinedly 74.87 degrees is nothing but 74 degrees 52 minutes and 12 seconds. Okay, so let us now say what is degree, minute and second. The 1 of 360th part of one rotation is 1 degree, that is out of a circle we made 360 parts and one of those is called as 1 degree, we saw this earlier. Again, this 1 degree is divided into 60 parts and the 1/60th part of 1 degree is called as 1 minute, which is denoted in this symbol, by this symbol, and the 1/60th part of 1 minute is called as 1 second. So this is how degree, minutes and seconds is considered. Okay, 360th part of one rotation is 1 degree, 60th part of 1 degree is 1 minute, and 60th part of 1 minute is 1 second. Okay. Now we will see how to calculate the angle between hour hand and minute hand of a clock. They will give us certain time, that is XYZ hours and XYZ minutes. We have to calculate the angle between those hands. So just consider this. There are 12 hour divisions, okay? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These are 12 hour divisions of a clock and 60 minute divisions, we know that, okay? So in 12 hour divisions, in each one, okay, that is suppose if the hour hand moves from 12 to 1, the hour hand travels 30 degrees of a distance, okay? So the hour hand in 1 hour division will travel 30 degrees and the same hour hand in 1 minute will travel half degrees. So this is what we have to consider while solving this kind of problems. That is, in 1 hour, the hour hand will move 30 degrees and in 1 minute, the hour hand again will move half degree. Okay. So suppose the time is 5:15. Okay. 5 hours 15 minutes is the time. We have to calculate the angle. Okay. Suppose so 5, that is the hour hand will be here, and 15 minutes, that is the minute hand will be here. And just keep this thing in mind. As 5:15, this hour hand will not be exactly at 5. Okay, this is where the 5 line is. It will be slightly ahead. Okay, so we have to also consider this portion by which it is slightly ahead. Okay, at 5:30, the hour hand will not be at 5, but it will be somewhere here. Okay, so we have to consider this smallest division as well, also smallest movement as well. So how we will calculate this? So suppose firstly, while calculating the angle between 5:15 hours, what we have to do is straight away measure the 2 hour divisions. How many hour divisions are there? So here are those 2 divisions, 2 complete divisions are there. 3 to 4 is 1, 4 to 5 is the second. Okay, this is first hour division, this is the second hour division, and slightly more is there. Okay, so what we have to do is first division, second division, and something more we have to calculate. So this is simple, as one division is of 30 degrees. So from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 is 30 plus 30. This is 60 degrees already. Okay, but the angle is something extra. So there will be something addition to 60 degrees. Now how to calculate this? So just imagine how many minutes, just listen to this, how many minutes has the minute hand traveled from 12? Okay, how many minutes has the minute hand traveled from this initial position? Okay, now again, so suppose this is 1, 2, 3, that is 15 minutes. Okay, they have also given 15 minutes. Now, how many divisions or how much travel does the hour hand makes in 15 minutes? That is simple. 15 into, for 1 minute, the hour hand travels half degrees. So 15 minutes it will travel 15 into half degrees, that is 7.5 degrees. That is, this distance from 5 to 6, on the way from 5 to 6, this is the extra distance we have to calculate. This is nothing but 7.5 degrees. So total distance or the total angular measurement will be 60 plus 7.5 degrees, that is 67.5 degrees. That is, when the hour hand is at 5 and the minute hand is at 15, or at the time 5:15, the angular measurement will be 67.5 degrees. Okay, we'll have another example. Suppose this is keep one thing in mind. This calculation is only if both the hands are at the right hand side. Okay, so what if it is at the left hand? What we have to do? The only difference is the hour hand thing, the first thing, this will be same. The only difference is what we have to calculate now. Suppose this would be here. We have to calculate the distance it will need to travel to get to 12. Okay. We'll have another example. Suppose the time is 5:45. So we'll consider for 5:15. Now suppose the time is 5:45. I'll do this in the same diagram. Okay. So now suppose the time is 5:45. What will we do? At 5:45, the minute hand will be here. Okay. And the hour hand will be nearer to 6. Okay. So how will we calculate this? So suppose we have to calculate this angle. This looks as 5:45. The hour hand will be closer to 6 as it is reaching the 12 mark. So now what we will do? Again we will measure first the hour divisions. How many are complete? 1, 2. Suppose this is 7, 8. Okay. So 1, 2 and 3. 3 complete plus this is the extra part. Okay. I'll just rub this. Just look at this. 3 complete divisions and this is the extra part we have to calculate. Okay. So this is 30 plus 30 plus 30. That is, the hour hand movement is already 90 degree plus this is the part we have to calculate. Now how much is this? Now being at the left hand side, the minute hand at the left hand side, what will we do? We will calculate or we will consider the distance it will travel to reach to 12. When it was at the right hand side, we consider the distance it has already traveled from 12. Here we will consider the distance it has to travel to reach 12. So it is again 15. So 15 minutes is nothing but 15 into half degrees. That is 15 into half again will be same, that is 7.5. So we'll add this 7.5 into 90. So the total travel will be 90 degrees plus 7.5 degrees. So the distance traveled, or sorry, the angular measurement of this time will be, or between these two hands will be 97.5 degrees. Okay, this is how we calculate time. You can consider any time and calculate the angle. So now we'll say how to calculate the length of an arc and area of the sector in an angular measurement. So suppose we have to first calculate the length of an arc. So length of an arc is having a simple formula called as S is equal to R theta, where S is equal to the length of the arc, R is the radius, and theta is the angular measurement they have given. So typically they give us this theta in degrees. We have to convert it firstly into radians and then calculate. Now let us see two problems on this formula. The first problem is they have given diameter of a circle is 14 centimeters. Find the length of the arc subtending angle of 54 degrees at the center. Now firstly see, let us write down what they have given. So firstly they have said diameter of the circle is 14 centimeters. Diameter is 14 centimeters. As the diameter is 14, the radius will be 7 centimeters. That is quite basic. After that, they have given the angle subtending to the center is 54 degrees. That is theta is equal to 54 degrees. Now that's all we need. The formula is S is equal to R theta. Now S is equal to R theta, but theta has to be in radians. So if we convert this into radians, 54 into pi by 180 is the factor we multiply by, again is equal to 54 and 180. If we divide by 18, 18 3s are 54, 18 10s are 180. It is 3 pi by 10 radians. Okay. So putting this these values in, S is equal to R theta. S is equal to R is 7 into theta is 3 pi by 10. Okay. So now we'll solve this. Is equal to 7 into 3 into what is pi? 22 upon 7, and this will be 10. Okay. So we'll again divide this. 2 11s are 22, 2 5s are 10. Okay. So this is 7 into 3 into 11 upon 5 into 7. Again 7 will get cancelled. 3 into 11 upon 5, that is 33 upon 5. This is nothing but 6.6. So as they have given us in centimeter, so the arc length will be 6.6 centimeter. That is a circle having diameter of 14 centimeter and angle of 54 degrees will be having the arc length, means the arc will be of 6.6 centimeters. Okay. We'll have another problem. They have given that a pendulum of length 21 centimeter oscillates through an angle of 36 degrees. Now I will have to draw this. They have given us a pendulum and its motion. Now just imagine, this is the pendulum and its movement. Okay, this forms nothing but a sector of a circle. The pendulum will move this way. Now the length of the pendulum is nothing but the radius of the circle. Okay, if you observe closely, this is nothing but the radius of the circle. They have given the pendulum oscillates through an angle of 36 degrees. Now this is 36 degrees and this is the arc length. They have given the length of the pendulum is 21. So 21 is the radius or the length of the pendulum. Again we'll do the same thing. Our formula is S is equal to R theta. So S is equal to R. What is the R? 21 into theta. Again we will calculate into radius. Theta they have given in 36 degrees. So 36 into pi by 180. Again this will go as 2 as 10. Okay. Again 2 1s are 2, 2 5s are 10. Pi by 5 radius. So 21 into pi by 5. Okay. S is equal to R theta. This is the formula. Now we'll solve this. S is equal to 21 into pi is 22 upon 7 upon 5. So this will be 21 into, this 5 will come up, 22 into 5 upon 7. Okay. So it will be, this 5 will come down, 21 upon 5 into 22 upon 7. So 7 1s are 7, 7 3s are 21 is equal to 22 into 3, 66 upon 5. So 66 upon 5, the answer is 13.2 centimeters. Okay. So this is a very simple formula. S is equal to R theta, by which we can find the length of the arc. Now we'll see how to calculate the area of the sector. So now we'll see the problem of area of the sector. Okay. So the problem is, in a circle of radius 12 centimeters, arc PQ subtends an angle of 30 degrees. Okay, this is a circle of 12 centimeter where arc PQ is having an angle of 30 degrees. Okay, so this is 30 we have considered. What we have to do? Find area between arc PQ and chord PQ. Now what we have to do is, this is our arc PQ. Okay, this is our arc PQ and this is our chord PQ. That is, we have joined the point P and Q. And we have to find this area, the area in between. This makes it a bit complicated. So what we have to do, let us solve it step by step. Okay. So firstly they have given the radius is 12 centimeters. Okay. So we'll write down the radius is equal to 12 centimeters. After that the angle is 30 degrees. Again the angle is theta is equal to 30 degrees. Now what we have to do, we will again convert this into radius. So 30 into pi by 180 is equal to, again this is 0, 0, 3 1 3, 3 6, this is pi by 6 radians. Okay, so what will we do now? They have given us all the data. We have wrote it down here. So the formula is 1 by 2 r square theta. Okay, so I'll write it here. For area of sector, formula is 1 by 2 r square theta. This is our formula. So what will I have to do? Now 1 by 2 r square theta is area of the sector. Okay, that is OQP is the complete sector. This portion we can find from this formula we can find this area. Okay, that is OQP, the entire sector of the circle. But we have to calculate this hatched portion. So what is let us see what we can do. Okay, so 1 by 2 r square theta. So 1 by 2 into r square. R is 12 centimeters. 12 into 12 we should write, into theta is pi by 6. So pi by 6. So 6 1 the 6, 6 2 the 12, 2 1 the 2, 2 6 the 12 is equal to 6 into 12, that is 12 pi centimeter square. Okay, so this is the area of this portion. Name it as equation 1. Now keep this aside for a bit. Now what we have to do, just imagine here, this is the sector, okay, and this is the chord. Okay, so what we will do, we'll subtract the area of this triangle from the area of this sector, so that we'll get the hatched portions area. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll draw the perpendicular here. Okay, this will be of 90 degree. We'll name it as, let us say, QR. Now as QR is here, this becomes a right angle. Now in the right angle triangle QRO, okay, in right angle triangle QRO, they have already given this is 30 degrees. So this is nothing but a 30 60 90 triangle. So we know the property that in the triangle of 30 60 90, the side opposite to 30 degree is half of hypotenuse. That is, we can say the side opposite to 30, which is QR. Okay, this is first question. QR is equal to half of hypotenuse is OQ. That is, QR is equal to half of 12. That is, QR is equal to 6 centimeters. Okay. So now we have got QR is equal to 6 centimeters. We have triangle OQP here. We know that the area of triangle is 1 by 2 base into height. So what we will do? Area of triangle OQP is equal to 1 by 2. The base will be SM as the radius, that is 12. That is this is the base, no? This is the radius. If this is 12, then this will also be 12. So 12 into the height is QR, so the height is 6. So again 2 1s are 2, 2 3s are, so 12 into 3, 36. So the area of triangle OQP is 36 centimeters square. Okay, this will be our equation 2. So as we considered earlier, to get the hatched portions area, we have to subtract the area of triangle from the area of the sector. So from 1 and 2, we can say that the area of the hatched portion will be 36 centimeters square. Okay, sorry, the area of the sector is 12 pi centimeters square minus 36 centimeter square. Now we'll do one simple step here. We'll take the 12 common, that is 12 in bracket pi minus 3 centimeter square. So area of the hatched portion will be 12 in bracket pi minus 3 centimeter square. This is quite simple examples, and these are the only two formulas you can use in this chapter. So I hope you understood all the lectures today, and yeah, try to solve the exercise of it is 1.1 and 1.2. If any doubt, you can call me or comment in the section. Thank you.